which there's a break here, where Rosie goes downstairs, finds out the city guards are looking for Lysanians like him, and he could get his power stripped away and be deported. And he's waiting for his patron, but someone else attracts his attention. The brush of an unfamiliar Denarii just outside caught his attention and made him look towards the entrance. The door swung open, and Rosie caught his breath. The bandages around his waist suddenly tightened. Gosh, the newcomer, a handsome austere, was handsome, if unkept. His fine clothes, a blue silk shirt and linen pants, along with the hair springing loose from his braids, made him look as though he'd been caught in a windstorm. He swayed on his feet and rubbed at his eyes as if he had a hard time seeing. A boyish grin split his face, and something in that smile instantly endeared him to Rosie. He looked drunk from his flushed skin and delayed reactions. Rosie sent a thread of dinar towards him to get a better sense of his intentions. Not drunk. Flying on one of the local drugs lately popular in the local taverns. Drugs were one thing Nicholas wouldn't tolerate in his girls or his customers, and for that Rosie was grateful. The bodyguard, Bain, caught the man by his arm. "This isn't your kind of place, Faisal. The Grey Lady is down the street." Rosie buried his surprise at Bain's knowledge of the newcomer and what he preferred. The Grey Lady offered boys. "Oh, Reuben, I'm here and I'm terribly thirsty. Give me something to drink." He gestured, and one of the house girls bent to unlace his mud-spattered boots. Bain, with a faint look of disdain, had to keep Faisal balanced as he stepped out of his boots and into the proper house slippers. Once the girl collected his fee and vanished with his things, he staggered towards one of the choice tables near the hearth in the room and made a small gesture. Two men occupying it hastily rose to find seats elsewhere. They left behind a mostly empty bottle of wine. Faisal sank onto the vacated cushion, one leg curled under him and the other knee pulled to his chest, and downed the remaining wine at a single gulp. He clutched the empty bottle to his chest and rocked back and forth, seemingly comforted by emotion. Trina balanced a tray of small soup bowls while she caught Rosie's shoulder. She whispered urgently in his ear, "Don't worry about him. Let one of the girls take care of him." "Who is he?" Rosie watched, amused that the other girls kept pleading. They all knew better than to go near a man who was fine, no matter his preference and partners. "The Lord Governor's son. A healer, but he's nothing but trouble. I've heard what he does in the taverns, but I didn't think he'd stoop low enough to fly. Don't go near him. He's a cheap bastard. Doesn't tip, thinks his fancy dinar is good enough." She shoved at Rosie in an attempt to get him to look elsewhere. "Come on, he's not for you. Nicholas is counting on you to earn some good money today." "The healer and the Lord Governor's son?" Gods, Rosie tried to quell the hope rising within him. Rosie had to see him, alone. If there were any chance of getting legal papers to walk freely in the territory, he'd have to get the ear of the Lord Governor himself. Any Lysanian, even a half-breed, who attempted to talk to the guard was questioned and deported without a hearing. Maybe the healer could do something about his headaches. Rosie jerked out of Trina's grip. She should know by now that telling him no only made him more determined to resist her. "He'll be sick. Besides, someone ought to look after him. And he likes boys. Bain said so. I'll be safe enough." "Stop it, Rosie. Leave him. You watch. He'll be out after the first drink and be over it by morning." Rosie didn't think so. He'd had to stay up all night when a couple of Nicholas's girls had come back after trying the drug to make sure they kept breathing and didn't hurt themselves. Even a small dose affected their eyesight and made them thirsty enough to drink whatever they could get their hands on. Faisal was already experiencing the effect of making the drug so popular. His flushed skin shone with a thin sheen of sweat, and he watched the girls pass by with a look akin to a hound scenting a bitch dog in heat. Rosie made up his mind. Someone had to look after the healer, and if he did, he might get some help. "You can't tell me what to do, Honeybee." "Rosie," she said through clenched teeth, but he clutched his tray and sauntered towards the man. The bard started playing an intricate rhythmic piece, fingers flashing across the twisted silk strings. Rosie knelt beside Faisal in a perfect gesture of obeisance. "Would you like a scallop, my lord? You should eat something. It's not good to have nothing but wine." "I'm thirsty," he said, sounding like a small child. He helped himself to his pair of scallops anyway. His head lolled against the wall, but his heated gaze measured Rosie. "I'm thirsty. Can I have another bottle?" He dug a cat out of his purse. His hand shook so badly he could hardly hold the coin. Another bad sign. If a healer stayed in such a state, he wouldn't be of any help. Rosie took the money more because Nicholas would be angry at the lost opportunity than because he wanted to. He felt pity for the healer rather than desire. "I have some more upstairs, my lord. Should you come with me?" He cocked his head and leaned forward to give Faisal a hint of what he meant. The music changed just then, with the rhythm growing louder and faster in its intensity. Faisal, already sensitive to his surroundings, swayed back and forth. His breathing sped up from anticipation. He raised his trembling hand to stroke Rosie's cheek and moved in for a kiss, but Rosie gently put two fingers against the healer's lips to stop him. His breath stank of stale wine and the strange, bittersweet taste of the drug. "Not here, my lord. Upstairs, where it's comfortable." The healer nodded and blinked profusely. "Who are you?" He palmed Arosi's face as if he'd be able to absorb the answer. His hand slid down to trace the curve of Arosi's neck down over his breast. Arosi held as still as he could, but he trembled from an emotion he couldn't describe. He'd enjoyed Xander's touch, and that of many men afterwards, but this was different. Little warm trails of dinar seeped into Arosi's skin, kindled a desire that had come all too rarely. Faisal pressed again. "You don't belong here. Who are you?" Rafir's clear tenor raised in a frantic, wordless melody. Notes flew between his fingers. Arosi stood and gently pulled Faisal to his unsteady feet and pressed his cheek to the heels. "You tell me, my lord." As they walked, Faisal seemed to grow stronger with each step, but it was only the drug giving him a false strength. Arosi's hands were firm and unyielding, as he kept an arm around Faisal's waist and half carried him up the stairs, on the back side of the tavern, to the corner room on the second floor. Every time he blinked, he was terrified he was open his eyes and find himself elsewhere, without Faisal, without a cure for his headaches. "Let me stay," he whispered. "Let me remember." Faisal, for his part, kept trying to stop so he could get a kiss. Arosi indulged him once or twice, but then concentrated on getting the healer upstairs before he fell down. He wouldn't be able to carry Faisal for himself, and he wouldn't want anyone else involved to prop him up. "I'm thirsty," he said again, and I want..." He lunged forward and caught the back of Arosi's head. Arosi braced himself against the healer's hardwood chest. Faisal wasn't a regular flyer. If he was, his muscles be wasted and his skin saggy and ashen. As he was, Faisal was a fine example of manhood, and one Arosi admired very much. He was also getting sick. Pressed against him, Arosi could feel Faisal's entire body shake. Not good. Not good at all. His emotions battered at Arosi's mind. Lust and need slipped easily past Arosi's weak barriers. He'd never been trained to use his dinar for empathy, and now bitterly regretted it. Faisal's emotions were so strong that they were painful, almost overpowering. Yet he couldn't make himself pull away. Even flying, Faisal was handsome, not just the kind of man that Arosi always wanted and rarely got. The drug usually intensified the healer's personality traits. The aggressive were more violent, the lewd more debasing. Faisal was a complete hedonist, and while his actions were needy and fervent, he didn't do anything that would hurt. In fact, Arosi gasped as a flash of the healer's dinar traveled through his body. Gods. Faisal knew exactly which physical points to hit with his dinar in order to please his lover. "This isn't real, Arosi. He's flying so high that he's like a horse in the stable if he thought he would give him what he wanted. You are not what's real. Go away." Arosi felt brave enough to talk back. Faisal was in no shape to notice. "I'm not going away, not when you just want to use the pretty healer to get back at Nicholas and Trina and our patron. You'll get us killed by being so reckless." Punished, for sure, but not killed. Nicholas, for all his rantings and beatings, were fond of Arosi in his own way. Besides, Arosi made it too much money. His patron, Thomason, on the other hand. Arosi had forgotten until now what it was like to lay next to another dinar, how comforting it was. Though Thomason was adept at empathy and mind reading, he didn't use dinar a bit, and didn't need to. Thomason's hands and lips were pleasure enough. But Faisal, Arosi's thoughts strayed to how much fun a healer's dinar would be in bed. He felt guilty thinking of Faisal in that way. He had a patron. Thomason would take him away from here, and soon. But for now, gosh, what he wouldn't give to actually enjoy tonight, except he brought Faisal here for a reason. If I didn't know better, I'd say you were flying as high as your peanut. Don't be stupid. He's exactly what Trina said, and it'll matter.